The shadow-like figures created by Alberto Giacometti are simple but also complex. Over and over he sculpted the human form, but not in a realistic manner. He was constantly finding new ways to reveal humanness through texture and posture. Some people describe Giacometti's sculptures as an expression of human cruelty or frailty. He created them around the time of the Second World War, and they seem to represent that era. Giacometti himself didn't explain the meaning, only that his figures represented his vision. What would your vision be for a figure sculpture? What if you stepped away from trying to make it realistic and thought more about how the pose expresses that vision? Start with a simple stick figure. Yes, you could gather and actually dry sticks from outside, but for a quicker process, there are lightweight wooden sticks that come in bulk. They can be easily cut with scissors. You will need 2 equal lengths for legs, 2 equal lengths for arms, 1 for the spine, and a couple shorter ones for shoulders and hips. Accurate proportions aren't really our focus here. Join the sticks using masking tape. I've torn off a few 3/4 inch pieces and stuck them onto the edge of the table so they're handy. Start with the spine and the shoulders. Leave a little bit at one end to attach the neck. Wrap the tape. After wrapping the shoulders, move on to attaching the hips and the legs, and finally I would attach the arms. Here's the finished figure. You can make more cuts at the elbows and wrists, add joints by wrapping more tape, and you'll be able to pose your figure. At this point, you can see it's quite flexible. Art paste is a powder that mixes with water. You can mix as much or as little as needed, and any excess can be stored in a container for future use. A cup of paste should be plenty for this project. We have a cup of very cold water. Pour it into a container and then whisk in about 3/4 tablespoon. Now you can adjust that amount slightly if you want to make it a little thicker or thinner. I'm making mine a little bit thinner for a sculpture project. Whisk with a fork or a small whisk. It needs to rest for about 15 minutes to allow the powder to dissolve. You may experience some lumps. Those will dissolve and go away, and the paste will be smooth. Then whisk it one more time, and it's ready to use. We need a piece of cardboard or chipboard for the figure's base, about 4 by 6. We also need some pieces of craft paper, cut or torn from a larger roll. Cover the table with a piece of wax paper or palette paper to keep it from sticking. Tear the paper into smaller pieces and strips. Crinkle the paper to make it softer, and then brush some paste on the front and the back side. It doesn't have to be completely covered, but get it good and wet. Cover the tape joints first to strengthen them. Don't be afraid to use your fingers to apply and shape the paper. This paste is not sticky. It's very smooth. It's plant-based and washes easily from hands and brushes, even when it's dry. After covering the entire figure in one layer of paper, it's best to set it aside to dry for a bit. Here's a figure that's dried for a little while. The glue is hardened, making it very rigid. Now more paper can always be added right on top of the first layers. Let's take our base and position it the way we'd like it to stand on the base. A couple of pieces of masking tape can be used to hold it in place while making feet. You'll want to cover the base with paper as well, and it may be helpful to have a jar or a bottle to prop the figure up while you're working so it doesn't fall over. Now, to make a head, form a ball from scraps of paper and then cover it with a few wet strips. Shape it, then position it on the neck and attach with more strips of paper. You can add more strips right on top of the dry strips. As you work, your pieces will probably become smaller and smaller. To add volume, form shapes with strips and press where you would like it to go. For instance, to make his chest a little bit larger, I'm going to position a piece over that area, then add more strips to hold it in place. Here's a finished example that is dried overnight. It's very rigid and sturdy now. More paper was added to fill out the form and to give it a variety of texture. Other materials can also be added: fabric, tissue, cotton, twine. This drape here was formed using the paste and a bit of cheesecloth. Now I'd like to show you how to paint the figure so that it appears to be cast from bronze. I've started on the back side by covering the figure in black acrylic paint and then allowing a few minutes for it to dry. Use a foam brush to apply gold or copper paint using the wide flat side and a gentle motion. Try to apply it so that the metallic color sits on the raised areas of texture and the black is still visible in the lower deep areas. What words would you use to describe this figure? Do you interpret any emotions in the pose? Follow the link if you'd like to read more about Alberto Giacometti and see detailed instructions and a full materials list. Enjoy making your own modern figure sculpture.